Hi everyone, my name is Adrienne and I'm a registered nurse and I work at Gateway Community Health Center as their early years primary care nurse. Today I'm making this video for my families who are planning on coming to prenatal education. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, we've had to adjust some of our plans, so I'm going to make you guys some videos to help summarize some information that you need to know before you have a baby. So for today, we're going to keep the topic really simple, and we're just going to do a basic review of anatomy or vocabulary that will help you to understand the information going forward. Today we're going to talk about the uterus, the cervix, the vagina, amniotic sac, amniotic fluid, placenta, umbilical cord, and a couple of others. For a lot of you, this will be a review, but for some of you, it might just help to clarify exactly what certain terms mean. The uterus is a muscular pear-shaped organ found in the lower abdomen that grows during pregnancy and houses your baby. When you're not pregnant, this organ is really small and it's tucked down below your pelvis. As your uterus grows during pregnancy, the top of it will move up into your abdomen, and the top of your uterus is called your fundus, and at about 20 weeks they will start measuring your belly, and from the bottom of your belly to the top of your belly, also known as your uterus, and the top is the fundus, that measurement should coincide with your number of weeks in centimeters. I'm not sure if that made complete sense, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So if they measure your baby at 20 weeks from the bottom of your uterus to the top, it should be about 20 centimeters, give or take a centimeter or two. The next thing we want to talk about is the cervix. And so the cervix is found, if the fundus is the top, the cervix is at the bottom. And that's the part that has to open up and get out of the way during labor. The next thing we want to talk about is the vagina. So if we're sort of stacking these terms, we have the uterus, at the top is the fundus, at the bottom is the cervix, which connects the uterus and the vagina, which is below. And the vagina, also known as the birth canal, is a muscular canal that connects the uterus to the outside world. And the outside of the vagina is called the vulva. So that's basic anatomy. Every woman has that. Now there's some specific organs and terms that we should know about that pertain specifically to pregnant women. And all of those things pretty much are found inside the uterus. So the first is the placenta. This organ develops in pregnancy to feed the fetus, or the baby, another term for you. The organ or the placenta typically implants in the top of the uterus. We're going to talk more about what it means when it attaches more to the bottom of the uterus or over top of the cervix, or the opening at the bottom of the uterus. And the placenta excretes hormones that are super important during pregnancy. It removes waste from the baby, and it brings nutrients and oxygen to the baby. Now, how do things get from the placenta to the baby? There's a cord. It attaches them, and it is called the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord attaches at the belly button of the baby, so that's why we all have a belly button, because when we're born, they cut the cord, and then basically that was our attachment point to the placenta. Other things we want to talk about, so inside the uterus there is a sac. It's called the amniotic sac. Sometimes it's called the bag of waters, and that houses amniotic fluid. Amniotic fluid has a number of purposes. One is to absorb shock so that when you're walking around your baby doesn't get all shaken up. The other is temperature regulation, and the other is to allow the baby to move around some. Now it has more functions, like babies breathe it in and they breathe it out. to help practice breathing so that their lungs and their muscles are more developed when they're finally born. They're able to actually take their first breath because they've used those muscles before. There's other reasons for that too, but that's one of them. They also swallow the amniotic fluid and pee it out, so it gets replaced every few hours. Now, the peeing out amniotic fluid is not the same as a regular person's urine. Mom is taking care of all of the baby's waste, so it's not actually a method that the baby uses to get rid of waste. So it's clean, it's sterile, but sometimes people are interested in that, and people will say to you, oh, amniotic fluid's so gross, it's baby pee. It is, but it's clean, so don't stress. Usually by the end of your pregnancy, you have about 2 cups of amniotic fluid, so that's quite a bit. When your water breaks, if it breaks before you go into labor, it doesn't usually gush all over the place. Usually you have a little initial gush, and then as you walk around and your baby shifts its head in your pelvis, more fluid will escape around the baby's head. So you don't typically have an enormous gush. Anyhow, I think those are all the terms we're going to look at for today. Hopefully that information was helpful to you, and I will be in touch with another video soon. Thanks.